between the lies, the shrinking of her size, the trap between the thighs. Bitches be cray cray, she claimed that she looking as pretty cray. Extra, extra, read all about it. Crazy bitch news, crazy bitch news, crazy bitch news, crazy bitch news. It's all in lies, somewhere between the lies, the shrinking of her size, the trap between the thighs. Bitches be cray cray, she cray that she looking as pretty cray. Extra, extra, read all about it. Crazy bitch news, crazy bitch news, crazy bitch news. And wait, crazy bitch news.
All right, the deal is we're going to look at 7 stories. Some contain, some contain, the desire for power. A couple of them involve sex. 1 or 2, maybe 3, here and there, something like that. Oh, there's a teacher sex scandal. So, yeah, that. And then, finally, the bed of roses thing. Yeah, that happened at a restaurant. Anyway, we'll get through all that. And the idea is, in between the stories, I'll draw pictures of some of these characters. I know I'm not at my best. I feel horrible, but that's typical. That happens. It's good to know that the audio works. Thanks, A. Thompson. Now everything is as it should be. No, really. So, all right, let's take a look at our first story as I scroll through them. I've got a list. I didn't check it twice, though. Oh, I should have, but now. Well, let's go for the creepy, weird, really, I don't know, horror movie level stuff, I guess. Or it could have been. I guess in the end it really wasn't. Still weird, though. This was, I guess it's an old story. Well, it is an old story because this perpetrator was a child when they committed the crime, but now they're an adult. All this stuff, but someone who was obsessed with the Slender Man. Remember that? There was like people claiming it was real, whatever, urban myth crap. I forgot to find the artwork of Slender Man. Now I'm embarrassed. I did all this work. See, I actually did some preparation for these stories. Maybe that's why I'm completely and utterly out of it. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the news. This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. Slender Man stabber Morgan Geyser captured after nationwide manhunt. The nationwide manhunt for Morgan Geyser, the Wisconsin woman convicted in the 2014 Slender Man stabbing, has come to an end. The Madison Police Department confirmed Geyser was taken into custody in Illinois at approximately 10:34 p.m., ending the intense search. Geyser escaped after she cut off her Department of Corrections monitoring bracelet and fled a Madison group home. Madison police announced her escape in a social media post. Morgan Geyser was last seen in the area of Cronk Drive around 8 p.m. with an adult acquaintance. Her whereabouts are unknown. The Madison Police Department was notified of her disappearance. Yeah, so there she is. Yeah, that's great. A recent image of Geyser captured on security video from the past month is attached below. If you see her, please call 911. So that was the message they were sending out. You know, please, for God's sakes. If you see her, let us know so we can get her. Anyway, 2017, Geyser pled guilty to attempted first-degree intentional homicide in the violent stabbing of Peyton Leutner, but claimed she was not responsible due to her mental illness. She told investigators she tried to kill Leutner to please the horror character Slender Man and was ultimately found not guilty by reason of mental defect. Geyser and her friend Anissa Weeder were 12 when they lured Leutner into a wooded park during a sleepover in May 2014. Geyser, encouraged by Weir, stabbed Leutner 19 times. Leutner miraculously survived the attack. Okay. This is her notebook showing drawings depicting the Slender Man character as a stick figure, probably because she can't draw, with a large head with no eyes, sometimes with tentacles coming out of the back of his body. I guess that's what that is. Well, anyway, there's Peyton Leutner. But she survived. Geyser has been in custody at the Winnebago. Winnebago? It's just a Winnebago parked on the side of the road. Mental Health Institute for the last 7 years. She was initially sentenced to 40 years in the psychiatric hospital and was permitted to ask the court to consider her conditional release every 6 months. Yeah, that's probably where you messed up. Police told local outlet WMTV that Geyser was staying at a group home in Madison before she disappeared. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just a group home. She just one day decided, I don't like it here anymore, and she walked away, you know. Well, but don't worry, she had a monitoring bracelet. Yeah, she probably figured out how to get rid of that too, you know. So, but there's more to the story. She had an accomplice. Well, let's find out about that. Yes, transgender accomplice, 43 years old, busted with Slender Man stabber Morgan Geyser, says she ran because of me. All right. The friend arrested alongside Slender Man stabber Morgan Geyser after her escape from custody is a transgender bestie who says the much younger escapee ran because of me. Oh, well, I can see why you would run from that, but, oh, wait, they ran away together, I suppose. Anyway, Charlie Mecca, 43, was found with the 23-year-old escapee at a truck stop in Posen, just outside Chicago, some 24 hours after the disturbed stabber fled her care home more than 150 miles away in Wisconsin. The trans pal, seen in a mugshot with disheveled blue hair and wearing a low-cut pink top, took responsibility for the escapee in an interview with a local TV station. Well, that was big of him. They, them. Oh, God. He's looking a little sad now, though. Yeah. Anyway, he says she ran because of me, said Mecca, who was issued a citation for criminal trespassing and obstructing identification. You mean by not being exactly clear what he is? I don't know. Anyway, Mecca claimed that Geyser fled her group home because she was being banned from seeing her transgender bestie. She sobbed. She's like, they'll take away our visitation. Charlie, please. You're my best friend, Mecca said of a phone call as she fled. She already made it clear if I didn't go, whether or not she was still going, and she was not going back to jail. She wasn't at jail. And I know what that means, Mecca said. Yeah, there's the lovely couple. Yeah. The end of the day, I followed what I thought was right. Now, I stand by it, said Mecca, whom police referred to as he, because he's a man. All right, I don't care if he's wearing a pink top and dyed his hair blue. But he identifies as transgender and was called she by Geyser because she wants to believe she's in a lesbian relationship with Mecca, I guess. I don't know. The pair who met a couple of months ago at a church, okay, in Madison, Wisconsin, were potentially heading to Nashville, Tennessee. They took public transportation to Chicago before walking 20 miles south to Posen, where they were arrested after police were called on reports of people loitering behind the truck stop. They thought, hey, something don't look right here. Geyser was only 12 when in 2014 she had another girl in this weird lured a classmate Peyton Lutner into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. The victim did survive, as we previously saw. So, there she is. Oh, so she grew her hair, and I guess the earlier picture was, earlier of her buzz cut and all that. So, yeah, this is basically a couple of nuts. But the girl's the only one with a violent record, I guess. Completely delusional. And they found each other. So Lutner was able to crawl away to a nearby cycle lane where she was found by a passerby and ultimately survived. Geyser was found not guilty by reason of being a complete nut, which is true, but still, and was sent to a mental hospital before being released to a group home in Madison. Yeah. She removed her ankle tag and escaped and was captured 24 hours later. When police found her, Geyser initially provided a false name, later telling cops she hadn't wanted to reveal her true identity. She had done something really bad, Geyser said, telling officers to Google her. Mecca, due in court later, I don't know. He probably won't suffer too much. It's not a whole lot here. She is an adult, so there's nothing about that. So they can be together if they want to be. But, I don't know. I guess the group home thought he was a bad influence or some shit. But, well, whatever, I guess it's kind of a tragic love story, two nuts finding each other, but one still haunted by her violent past. And, gee, that's almost sad. Except it isn't. She's got serious problems. Whatever the mental facility was all about, it didn't fix anything. She's still messed up. And if she was willing to stab somebody 19 times when she was 12, well, imagine what she's capable of now that she's in her 20s. I mean, hopefully it's just she gets in a romance with a trans woman because she thinks she's a lesbian. Maybe that's all that comes of this. And if that's the case, well, then I guess it's all right. I mean, in the end, her victim did survive. So, anyway, there you go. That's the weird, sad tale of Geyser Morgan. This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin. Yeah, okay, so, sad love story, is it? Except it isn't. And again, sorry I got the name wrong at the end, but I corrected it in text, see? So it's good. I shouldn't have any problems. Hopefully not. So I guess I'll draw the lovely couple. Let me check the chat. the Rav one. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for watching the show. So, about 50% of the population can't be found guilty. Yeah, I think so. It appears maybe that's the plan all along. Well, he is slender, Doug. You want a fatter, slender man? Yeah. What if that's the deal? That Morgan thinks that Charlie there is Slender Man. Instead of dyeing his hair blue, he should shave it bald. And he could be Slender Man. Now, maybe Slender Man's mortal enemy is Fatter Man. And so you got to be on the lookout for that spirit, Anyway, the Rob One says, was that a surprise for anyone? Transgender seems they involved in all types of weird stuff. And it seems to happen. Looks like Steve-O. Yeah. 2 nuts. No bag. Well, anyway. She has to go back to the Winnebago. And I don't know. Steve-O is not allowed visitation. So I guess that would be the deal. It's why she escaped. And I don't know what his situation is. What if they get married? Then it's like, would he be the guardian sort of deal? Because eventually, it says, well, she'll be locked up for it. Not necessarily. And they were like, come on, she did something really nasty. But she was so young. So very young. And, she had issues. And she's come a long way. Has she? Everybody comes a long way. Everybody ages. So you're supposed to get points for aging? I don't know. So whatever. But I guess, they don't like that when you escape. It makes them look bad and stuff, so she's earned some punishment there. And, I don't know. Well, damn it. Why do they... Jeez. As for her boyfriend, Steve-O, maybe it's real love. It's like he said, hey, this was all my fault. But he says it was because of him, but it's like, no, that just explains why she did it. It's not like you broke her out or anything. It doesn't seem like it. It's like she said, I can't stay here without you. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll go with you to Tennessee. And I guess they only had enough money for a bus ride to Chicago. After that, they're like, now what? Well, I guess we're on foot. I don't know if the plan... surely the plan was not to walk from Chicago to Nashville, I guess, where they were going. So perhaps, they ended up at that truck stop, and someone said, hey, these two don't look right. And so, really, how can you tell? Because if you've seen the parking lots of him. Anyway, and I guess they were probably panhandling and looking for someone to give them a ride and see how far they could go, that kind of thing. And I doubt that anyone, hey, she's the Slender Man killer. or stab her rather. Can't, she didn't kill the girl. The girl survived. Thank God. But it's not like she's like, yeah, I didn't really mean it. So no, you did. Just fortunately, you weren't very good at it. So, them's the breaks for those two. But anyway, then she probably said, "Hey man, you think you could give me a ride for however far they were shooting for it, something that's a little closer to Tennessee?" And well, let me see here. Well, I might be able to do that. Yeah. And then here comes Mecca. Whoa, 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 no. So then, it's like the truck stop guys. Hey, are you guys harassing my customers and panhandling or whatever, And they said, whoa, the hell am I dealing with here? I'm gonna call the long arm of the law. And long arm showed up. Well, what have we here? Well, pretty much the usual, but lo and behold, one of them's a fugitive. So there you go. Wow, this ain't gonna be just your average night. These nuts are a little bit more than the average nut. So there you go. Everybody got something out of the deal. They got their little trip. It was probably kind of romantic for them and stuff. Just the two of them against the world, They're probably even closer now than they were before. So, hey, isn't that sweet? And meanwhile, the police are like, well, look at this, So they got a little something. It's not just the usual crap they got around and take to the old jail and all that. And then like the clerk at the truck stop, he's like, now I got a story to tell. I said, yeah. And then everybody, you mean to tell me this crazy bitch stabbed a girl for the Slender Man? Now she's in love with some trans dude? Yep, that's it. That's the whole story. And it all happened right here. Yeah, see, it all works out. Everybody's got something. Of course. And it's hard to keep up with what the supposed rules are. A lot of times it's like maybe Mecca here, who goes by the nickname Charlie. Well, is it like Charlene, or is it just Charles? Actually his name's Chad. But anyway, but what if he just says, hey, I'm non-binary? Which I guess, depending on your mood, one day you're like, I think I'm a woman, or at least I was supposed to be, and so I'm gonna be a woman today. And other times, I'm not really feeling it. I don't feel like putting lipstick on or nothing. But of course, I dyed my hair blue and left half. It's almost like, it's kind of like Two-Face. You know how he's the normal guy and then he's the evil monster guy, but they're one and the same, So Charlie, sometimes Chad, the blue part is longer, so that's the feminine side. So the woman hair comes out. Where on the other side here, he's just some guy, He's just got a regular haircut. See how that works? That way, depending on his mood, he can go into the ladies' room or at the locker room. Stuff like that. Because today, I feel like a woman. Plus, he seems to have an interest in Morgan here. You know? Or maybe for him it is, let's just be friends. And then, oh, Morgan, you're going to get friend zoned by Chad. Yeah. Because, but anyway, what a mishmash of things. Where does Morgan see herself as a lesbian? You know, and yet the one you have a thing for is just some dude with blue hair. But, you know, don't shatter the illusion. You know, she's got mental problems and stuff, and she might freak out when you mention the blatant, obvious physical reality, you know, because ultimately that's the problem. Reality, you know? Reality is, well, it can be really harsh, you know? Sometimes it's like you got to get up in the morning or in the evening in my case to go to work. You know, you don't feel like it. You know, you got to go over there, and you might have to deal with fugitives from the law. Some crazy slender man stabber, and some guy who thinks he might be a woman someday and maybe not the next. You know, you'd rather just stay at home or roll over and go back to bed. But reality says, no, stupid, you got to go to work. You want to keep the lights on? You're going to need money for that. Yeah, boy, it's tough, you know. Well, poor Morgan here, that's something she just really can't abide by. So, constantly needing, you know, a fantastical look on how life should be and demanding that everyone accommodate that, or she'll freak out. It's usually how that goes. And so that's right. I'm in this relationship with the woman I love. It's not a woman. Well, it is sometimes. Okay. Something like that. It's just a guess, of course. I mean, suppose got to keep up on the story and find out what the real deal is. No, I'm not going to do that. You know, you throw in the whole Slender Man thing, kind of a weird alone, but she was a messed up kid. She's been in the nut house for, I don't know, what, it's probably, I guess, 10 years now or something like that. And yeah, well, you can see how much that worked out. And then now there's this. And then, of course, the boyfriend-girlfriend here shows up with the lovely hairdo. It's just tailor-made to be a story. You know, it couldn't just be, well, two loiters, you know, got busted, and, well, one of them's got a warrant. No one's going to care. Even if it is some wannabe lesbian and a wannabe trans guy, you know, I mean, so yeah, look at that. And then that's about it. But you got all this story, and it makes a complete package. Yeah? That's all there is. Is there anything more to it? No. And she'll probably get out. Yeah. And hey, maybe they'll get together. You know, get a place. They're gonna have to actually work, though. That's gonna be tough. You know. So that'll be the biggest struggle there. And then, you know, she'll say, well, the fatter man told me to kill Charlie. Oh, no. No. But hopefully not. other than that, yeah, that's probably the deal. But again, not really going to research it to get the details and see how this story ultimately concludes, you know. You know, probably all let down. Oh, I gotta know. Will Charlie and Morgan remain together? Are they doomed to be separated? How will they cope? I don't know. You just don't know. Because no one really cares. But at least in this case, I guess, she was a child having delusions of some demonic ghostly creature telling her what to do. That kind of thing. And still, like, at least from the brief quotes that you had in the story, she still sounds very childlike, and which is usually the case here. She's probably never really going to be an adult. So then it's kind of like, well, I mean, she could easily be abused by somebody. And that's probably what was suspected about this guy. I can't imagine why they would think that, but then again, he seemed pretty dedicated to her. I guess it's you know, it's kind of real in that sense. The only thing that's real about them, you know, is there seems to be a genuine affection. I mean, he finally met somebody who kind of gets him, you know. The would-be murderer, you know. But hey, some people can't even say that, you know. So there's all kinds of happiness in the world. You just gotta find yours. And it looks like Morgan and Charlie found theirs. Yeah. All right. There we go. A portrait of the, well, I wouldn't say young lovers, but, you know. Well, she's still kind of young. He's, what, 43? Yeah. Darrow says, did you say 92 times she stabbed her victim? I thought it was 19. I don't know. Could be. You know, who the hell knows? But it was a lot, and amazingly enough, the girl survived. Of course, they don't go into details. What kind of injuries was it? You know, was it life-altering, life-altering injuries? You know, you always got to keep that in mind. It says, oh, well, the victim survived, no big whoop. No, it's a big deal. Everybody's saying hi, even Captain Infinity Time Travel Police. So, there we go. All right, well, there's my portrait of Slender Man Stabber and Chad Charlie Mecca, the devoted girlfriend, boyfriend of Slender Man Stabber. Which is odd because it makes it sound like, hey, she stabbed Slender Man, which would kind of make her a hero, wouldn't it? You know, because isn't he supposed to be an evil monster that drives people crazy and kills them? Man, the voice is going. So she's, I don't know how else the Slender Man fan. No, that would mean like she's killing fans of Slender Man. Damn. The Slender Man obsessed stabber. There, see, that would be the proper phrase. Yeah. watched people post videos about Slender Man and thought, holy crap, it's all real. Well, she was only 12 at the time, so, you know. Maybe it's... I'm going out on a limb here. I don't have kids, so who am I? But maybe it's not a good idea to let the internet babysit your kids, you know. Was that wrong? Maybe. Oh well. They'll always have what was the town? Posen? Posen, yeah. Posing as something you're not. Because again, reality is nobody's friend. This is true. But what are you gonna do? Well, I guess, you know, run away from the Winnebago and try to hitch a ride at the truck stop. Maybe next time it'll work. You never know. All right, well, what's the next one? Oh yeah. Well, we might as well get the teacher sex scandal out of the way. And this one is an update of sorts. I've covered this particular teacher before, but what the hell? You know, there's a follow-up. So, who knows? Maybe there'll be a follow-up to Morgan and Charlie here, you know? Maybe. Can't promise anything, though. This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. A married teacher who paid students and plied them with booze and drugs for sex gets 10 years in prison. A 30-year-old former substitute teacher was sentenced to 10 years in prison after she was convicted of paying middle school students for sex, as well as providing them with drugs and alcohol. What, to cope with it, or just extra treats? And yeah. Oh, look, she's possessed. See the red in her eyes? Well, she's got the devil in her. Carissa Jane Smith of Dixon, Missouri, was arrested in November of 2024 and charged with 19 felony counts, including statutory rape and child sex trafficking. I guess she gave him a ride to the house, you know. Anyway, Smith ultimately pled guilty to lesser charges. Well, they gave her a deal. Okay, according to authorities, Smith, who worked at multiple schools, she got around, within the Dixon R1 school district, would pay students $100 or more, either in cash or through Cash App, in exchange for sex acts. Smith is also alleged to have supplied students with alcohol or marijuana in exchange for sex. But the money was the main draw, right? You know? Anyway, the alleged abuse was not limited to one-on-one encounters. In one instance, a student was allegedly recruited by a classmate who asked if they wanted to do some work and make some money for work. Wanted to do some work and make some money for work. Okay. Before taking them to Smith's residence, where the abuse occurred, while the friend waited outside. Court documents details other shocking claims, including one student who alleged that Smith forced him to ejaculate inside her. So what, she held him in so he couldn't pull? I don't know. Anyway, wait a minute. I think I've covered this story before. So, okay, wait. This is an update. Yeah. When the victim expressed his distress, stating, "That was fucked up," Smith's alleged response was to offer him more money. All right. Well, okay. Authorities allege that Smith went to great lengths to cover up her actions, including by repeatedly warning victims not to talk about their encounters or she would get into trouble. Well, yeah. When one of Smith's victims was said to have in his possession video of her performing oral sex, Smith smashed the student's phone to destroy the recording. Yeah, that's... So, yes, you didn't upload it anywhere, did you? No, of course not. Okay. Smith is also alleged to have told her husband that one of her victims was blackmailing her with a video of them smoking marijuana, prompting the husband to threaten the boy with a baseball bat. I wonder if the boy said, "Oh, yeah? Let me show you this video instead." And, I don't know. In another instance, Smith's brother-in-law is alleged to have caught her in bed with an underage student after he had heard a rumor about a circulating video. So he heard the rumor. Said, I've got to go and confront her about this. And he just walks into her bedroom, and there she is with one of the students. Apparently that's how that occurred. Huh. She just couldn't stop, Well, anyway, Smith is alleged to have abused minors in various locations, including her home. Well, yeah. Often when her husband was away for work. Well, I assume he was always away for work or somewhere else other than there. Other locations where the alleged abuse took place in Smith's car, as well as in more isolated places, such as on the side of the road or even on gravel roads. How is that more isolated than her home? Anyone could drive by. Anyway, on September 17th, 2025, Smith pled guilty to lesser charges as part of a plea agreement, including 2 counts of sexual contact with a child and 1 count of first-degree endangering the welfare of a child. Smith's attorney cannot be reached for comment. Well, I mean, he lost. He don't want to brag about that, Yeah, you don't win them all. So, yeah. 10 years. Well, I wonder, what were the other charges? I mean, they just don't have the word rape in the charging documents or what have you. I don't know. But, well, she'll do 10. I guess she's mandated to do the full 10. I don't know if doesn't mention any possibility of parole, but, yeah. Well, there you have it. She had sex with a lot of students all over the place, apparently. And then no one noticed except her brother-in-law who walked in on him. Okay. And she gets 10 years. And that's the story. What a mess. But anyway, that's public education for you. This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin. Wow, that was great, huh? Another, really heartwarming story. But, yeah, I did remember her face more than the details, but I'd completely forgotten that she just kept having sex with these students just about everywhere. And by isolated, I guess they meant like a back road or something, road hard. Most people don't take that road. they'll never think to find us here. And then they did. Or rather, no, that was the brother-in-law, was it? He just walks in on this. Yeah, I don't know. But it's like she seeks them out, you know? It's just like, hey, you want to earn a little extra money? Jeez. Ah, jeez. And it just went on and on. Until the brother-in-law. So I assume he like had a key to the place and hey, hello? I'm here. Is everything all right? I need to talk to you about some rumors I've been hearing. I'm sure it's all bullshit, but yeah, I just gotta make you aware of. Oh my God, you're in bed with a student. Oh yeah. I guess that's how it happened. Yeah. But then again, maybe he had a habit of just showing up and walking into her bedroom because, you know, is what? You'd rather be with one of those kids than me? It's like, oh, it's not what it looks like. And the kid's like, it's exactly what it looks like, dude. Yeah. And so then he was all heartbroken and stuff, you know. So then just, hey, you're not going to tell anybody, huh? And he just walks off disgusted. And then, yep, he told people, most notably the police. So I guess she, you know, she had a hobby, and it got her into trouble. You know, I mean, so that's the deal there. 10 years, you know. And of course, you know, it's she broke the trust that the community had in the teachers. You know, so that's, you know, they gotta chalk that into the charges and whatnot. And then, oddly enough, it's probably one of these situations where she's teaching other inmates how to read and stuff. Well, I really feel fulfilled and stuff because actually, my real passion is teaching. And I'm really kind of sad that I don't get to do that anymore. But now, here, ironically enough, behind bars, I'm able to fulfill my true calling. And then, of course, you know, it has sex with the other inmates and stuff like that. So, yeah. And she's probably got some sad story about her past and all that, but yeah, that don't really. I mean, it might explain things, but an explanation is not an excuse. So, but I wonder if it was like every school year, you know, another crop of students comes in. It's just like, oh, I like this one.
you know, that kind of thing. And she's moving on from one of the previous ones, and then you probably got some jealousy going on and all kinds of stuff. You know, it's just bad all around. But I mean, once they turn 18, you know, do you think any of them will write letters to her and stuff? They get married later. I don't know. And you never know exactly what the whole thing is. Is it? It's like being at school was the only reality she could that she wanted to exist in. Things didn't turn out at school the way she wanted it to, which is pathetic in its own right. You know, people who peak in high school and stuff. And she just wanted to stay in that environment forever. Of course, you can't. But then, you know, she wants to participate in the little romances that come to life during high school. Problem is, she's not a kid. So, you ain't gonna let that stop her. Oh, there you go. That's too bad. Then, of course, the poor husband, you know, he's like, oh my God. Yep. That's your wife. But she'll probably rationalize it or something. He didn't pay enough attention to her. This is what made her desperate. And it made her, actually, she's the victim here and all this type of thing. Something like that. Yeah. I can't even remember what subject did she teach. I don't remember. Of course, she was a substitute teacher, right? She wasn't like a full-on teacher. There seems to be a lot of those. Yeah, it's like, wow, I could have access to all these young people if I volunteered to be a substitute teacher. That could be the motive. And they're like, yeah, whatever, we just need someone to fill that spot, you know. It's not like the principal wants to go sit in that damn classroom, you know. And he's like, oh, God, I don't want anything to do with these brats. And then you got somebody who'll come in, you know. Oh, good. And he can go back to the office and play on his phone. But little did he know, a nefarious plot was underway. And then next year do it all over again with someone else, you know. And I don't know, what is the vetting process? I mean, obviously, you don't have any priors, do you? You know, but is there like a psychological test? And he's like, oh yeah, he's one of those. I don't know. You just point blank, hey, you're not going to have sex with the students, are you? What? No, of course not. All right. All right, you're hired.
Susan Dolan says 10 years in prison and a lifetime on the sex offenders list. Yeah, there is that, you know. Susan says, sounds like she was a fan of Van Halen's I'm Hot for Teacher. Yeah, they probably did play that. I remember one of the scandals. Oh, that was the one where the woman hired this kid, or not hired him. She was having sex with him. Yeah, told him that her husband was abusive and stuff, and got him to kill her husband. And that was one of the things, was they would hook up in her car and stuff and play Hot for Teacher. Man. I mean, you know, you get the gag, the joke, you know. But maybe they could. That song really messed up a lot of people. It's probably satanic, you know, or something like that. And it never would have happened had the song not put them in the mood. Or, you know, they could just, you know, I was 16, she was 32. And then they get married later, and they can say that Hot for Teacher was their song. Oh, honey, they're playing our song. Oh, if only I could dance with you, but, you know, the arthritis in my hips. Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. There we go. Yeah, good enough. Good enough. There she sits on her desk. Yes, just like that. Hi, class. You know, I'm going to need all the girls to leave the room. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, she's up the creek, the river, whatever, in the slammer. Let me get rid of some of these. Goodbye. So that was the teacher sex scandal for this episode. Geez. At least this one, there's not really the Slender Man one was the only one that was well, it was past violence, you know, but the rest of these, because like a lot of times, like, you know, I'll try to find one that's a little bit lighter, you know, but most of them, there's not a whole lot to this. You know, so that's something. Yeah. Now I'm kind of like, which one do I pick? Where do I? Well, here's this anchor woman who got into some trouble. She used to be a news anchor woman, but she got into some trouble. Typically, it's like, well, shouldn't they all be? Don't they always lie and everything? Well, it's not one of the. Well, maybe she did lie, but anyway, here we go. This is your next story from Nailsin News. This is a Nailsin News Bulletin. Well, the next news anchor is going to be sentenced as a result of her massive COVID fraud scheme, scam, whatever, you know. Turns out she's going to be sent to the same jail where Ghislaine Maxwell. You know, Epstein's girlfriend. Yeah, that one. Yes, a disgraced ex-TV anchor, Stephanie Hockridge, will spend the next 10 years behind bars for her role in a multi-million-dollar COVID fraud scheme, serving her time in the same cushy lockup as notorious sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. The 42-year-old, a former Phoenix TV anchor turned entrepreneur, was sentenced in Texas federal court in order to cough up nearly $64 million in restitution for the bogus Paycheck Protection Program loans she helped secure during the height of the pandemic. Huckridge, found guilty in June of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, will report to prison on December 30th. There she is in happier times. Well, not so happy there, though. No. Well, she'll be locked up at federal prison camp in Bryan, Texas. The same minimum security facility that houses Jeffrey Epstein's madam disgraced Theranos fraudster Elizabeth Holmes and the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City scammer Jen Shah. Not really familiar with her, but Elizabeth Holmes, I do remember her. She talks like this. Hockridge and her husband, Nathan Reyes, founded a lending service company called Blue Acorn in Diddy, which they claimed was designed to help small businesses secure federal Paycheck Protection Program loans at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. See, she's being very responsible here. She says, hey, wear your mask. See, she's like walking around. I'm cute and stuff, but look, I wear my mask. And here she is posing with the mask there. That's right. You got it. You got to mask up, guys. Behind the masks lies the true beauty. You. But prosecutors said the couple's Scottsdale-based firm charged borrowers kickbacks based on a percentage of the funds received and submitted applications to the U.S. Small Business Administration, which ran the PPP program, that they knew were loaded with fraudulent information. In one application, Reyes falsely claimed he was a veteran and an African American. Well, I don't know. Maybe he identifies as African, In total, they processed more than $63 million in bogus PPP loans, according to DOJ. The PPP was an $800 billion federal loan initiative launched in to help small businesses keep workers employed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Investigators allege that the couple used the proceeds to enrich themselves personally. There she is. How could a journalist be involved in this? The former KNXV-TV anchor claimed that her actions were a sincere effort to support small businesses in navigating a chaotic government problem during an era of unprecedented need. Yeah. But a congressional report found that Blue Acorn routinely failed to properly vet applicants and charged illegal success fees to borrowers, violating Small Business Administration rules. The report also detailed how Blue Acorn's leadership instructed staff to prioritize speed over accuracy. Well, yeah, this has very little to do with Epstein and all that, but it's just the same prison that, she's hanging out at these days. So she'll be there too. How about that? I guess they send all the, notable females to this place, whatever. Reyes took a plea deal in August and will be sentenced in December. Hockridge spent 7 years as an anchor at KNXV-TV, the ABC affiliate in Phoenix, and had previously worked as a reporter for CBS News Radio in London. She was nominated for an Emmy and named favorite newscaster by Arizona Foothills Magazine. It's a magazine about feet and the hills of said feet. Her conviction marks one of the highest profile PPP fraud cases to date involving a public figure. So she gets to go to public figure prison. So there you go. Yeah. Boy, the really hard part is she's got to cough up all that money. I mean, what was the point of getting all that money when you just got to cough it up? I wonder how she's going to do that. Maybe you got to give up the house, the land it's on, I suppose. The cars, of course. Yeah, I don't know you're going to get $63 million out of that. Maybe. Anyway, the rest of it, she sits on her ass and gossips with Ghislaine and what's her face from Theranos and the Real Housewife from what was it? I forget where she was from. One of those dumb shows. Anyway, and she's got that to look forward to. So, you know.
This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin.
All right. Well, that worked out great for everybody involved, didn't it? She'll be fine. Maybe she'll get some sort of, the real story behind bars or something like that. Kind of parlay it into that. Or she'll get an appeal and say, hey, wasn't me. It was, my husband's fault or something like that. Who the hell knows? Hey, look, it was a strange time, really wild and stuff, and maybe some mistakes were made. I mean, it could happen to anybody. Don't be jelly of me because I'm pretty. Something like that. And, hey, that's true. That's not fair. And then she gets off. And then eventually she can say, hey, the real criminals of COVID, they didn't go to prison. And she's got you there. Oh boy, yeah. So, and you're like, oh damn it. Yeah. But, what ifs? Some people can see a disaster with a global pandemic. Other people see opportunity. Hey, it's not her fault you didn't see it. And probably even now, she's sitting there thinking, God, I was actually trying to help people. I guess no good deed goes unpunished. That's something you can always tell yourself when you're defrauding people in the midst of their fears and a lot of tax money thrown around all over the place. Which, hey, it was stolen money to begin with. And damn, it got me again. bars. Have you ever wondered what it's like on the inside? No, don't care to know, not really. But then maybe she can get the scoop from Ghislaine. Maybe even, what's her name, Holmes. And then her journalistic career can be born again. I struggled on the search for my truth, and I met other women there who had fascinating stories, and I was there to chronicle it all. I'm actually quite heroic. You know, something like that. And that could be the deal. She can come out, she can do her YouTube podcast, and she'll have the exclusive on Ghislaine. Of course, she said, hey, it was all a misunderstanding, and anything bad, it was all Jeff, it wasn't me, and stuff like that. You think, wow, you need to speak your truth, and I'm going to report it. And there you go. And in the end, it's not like she's going to feel bad about any of it, because it's like, hey, look, I just stole some money. I didn't do the crap she did. And that's true. Now, even Holmes is like, look, I defrauded some people. I convinced them I had some miracle device that could, what was it supposed to do? Like your home diagnosis machine. You wouldn't need labs anymore or anything like that. I forget. It was all a bunch of bullshit. And a bunch of people, I guess, fell for it and plunged a lot of money and investment into it. And all the while, it was a parlor trick. And eventually, someone's going to notice that. And then it all came crashing down. Well, apparently, the law has a problem with that. Sometimes they don't. I mean, look at Fauci. So, I guess it's who you know and stuff, And little princess here, well, she didn't know the right people. So, off to prison you go. There we go. All right. And move on to the next story. There's the portrait of, God, I can't even remember her name. I mean, she's pretty and all, but sounds like she did something bad. Wait, I said delete, stupid. I don't want that one anymore. All right. Oh yeah, this one's a little weird. Hadn't heard from Elliot Spitzer in a long while when he got caught with the prostitute and ruined his political career. And well, he was in the running to possibly be president and all that. But well, yeah, he liked to chase the prostitutes, and he got caught. That's that. Just like that, it was over. Well, he's gone into real estate since then and whatnot. Meanwhile, another scam artist is apparently an influencer. One of these girls who prance around on Instagram in her underwear. And, she's been ripping off restaurants, not paying and stuff like that. But anyway, here's the story.
This is a Nailsin News Bulletin.
Brooklyn Dine and Dash influencer about to be evicted from her posh Williamsburg pad by her landlord, Elliot Spitzer. Yeah. The Prada-obsessed wannabe foodie influencer arrested 5 times for dining and dashing at Lux Eateries is now facing eviction from her posh apartment for not paying rent to her landlord, former New York Governor Elliot Spitzer. Wasn't he love client number 9 or something like that? Because he was banging this prostitute. Yeah. Anyway, here's the thing that annoys me. I tried to get reservations at some of those restaurants, and I couldn't, quipped Spitzer, who was dubbed Love Gov in 2007 after his prostitution scandal exploded. He declined further comment. Anyway, there's the influencers. Giggle, giggle, cute. Pei Chung, 34, is stated to get the boot from the $3,350 a month Williamsburg pad after falling behind on $40,000 in monthly rent. It is in her well-appointed studio at 416 Kent Avenue where Chung often films herself in skimpy lingerie and pricey fashion from Cartier, Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Burberry. Not familiar with that one. Anyway, showing Chung the door is high on our priority list, building manager Bob Jenny wrote to a neighbor who had complained earlier this year about the food-fixated fraud, leaving garbage in the hallway and making too much noise. We are very aware of the situation and have a very active legal case against this resident, Jenny wrote. NYPD has been here multiple times with little long-term improvement. I have regularly heard loud arguments between residents on this floor, as well as sounds played at excessive volumes during various hours of the day and night, the neighbor claimed. The sounds frequently vibrate through the doors and walls. Living near Chung's apartment has come with repeated outbursts, visible signs of conflict and disorder in the hallway. Jeez, I thought she was just stealing food all the time. Oh, well. Another resident previously told the Post Chung yelled outside her own apartment door and wrote his name in red lipstick on his door. Ooh, that's weird. Police have been called to the building at least 3 times because of Chung, once in February and 2 consecutive days in July. But officials would not give details. Well, I guess it involves noise and maybe lipstick. One neighbor claimed police are frequent visitors to the building. She's crazy in the head, which is where most crazy people are crazy. When I tried to say hi to her, she doesn't talk to me. I probably got a thing for her. She ignores me. The cops come pretty much every other week. I do feel bad for her. See, he's kind of into her, though, and I think she needs help. And you were going to be that guy, right, to save her and stuff. She's also skittish of the elevator. One time she brought her toolbox down and said she was going to lock the door so no one can get their packages. She'll be in the elevator, and if someone goes in, she jumps right out. She likes to ride the elevator alone. Okay. Another spotted her at the Hole in the Wall Eatery on Grand Street Friday night, where Chung was sitting at a table talking to herself, they said, but without a meal on the table in front of her. Yeah, because otherwise she'd steal it without paying. Some shared videos of Chung walking through the lobby of 416 Kent in a white and brown fur coat, only to strut across a plaza at the complex and sit in the lobby of a neighboring building. Chung's lease expired in August 2024. Jenny did not return calls for comment. Chung did not respond to a message. Yeah, it's probably really embarrassing, for both sides. I mean, if her lease expired, what the hell was she still doing there? That's well over a year ago. So Spitzer's Williamsburg development, a trio of towers with a total of 857 apartments, which sits on Kent Avenue, overlooking the Brooklyn waterfront between South 8th and South 9th Streets, with show-stopping views of Manhattan, began leasing units in 2018. The project was recently valued at more than $650 million. Oh, look, there she is at work now. Giggle tee hee, giggle. The former politician dove into his family's real estate business, because what else was he going to do? Spitzer Enterprises in 2015, taking over the company after his father, developer Bernard Spitzer, died in 2014. Chung posts dozens of photos and videos of herself to Instagram inside the 8th or 9th floor apartment. In one, she's sitting on her knees wearing a black thong in front of the window overlooking the street. In another, she's posing in barely there lingerie in the mirror. She has been arrested in recent weeks for stiffing Michelin star restaurants like Francie and Peter Luger. Peter Luger has taunted cops on her social media posts, and as recently as Thursday looked down her nose at the eateries she's visited and allegedly stolen from. Well, then if you don't like it, why would you even steal it? I repeatedly requested my takeout order, such as protein dishes, lamb shank. However, most of them didn't nail the task, she sniffed in the snooty post. It's not personal. I've already encountered multiple restaurants in my hood, adding the businesses cease to functionally deliver something that I am really satisfied with every detail. Chung has pled not guilty in at least one case. Sounds like she's broke. She burns through money, and that's why she started stealing and stuff. And whatever money she makes off of, I don't know, OnlyFans or some crap like that. Yeah, it's not adding up. But then again, Spitzer used to be into, I don't know, make him an offer, I guess. Maybe you could still stay. Maybe not. You never know. I mean, you obviously are willing to give it a shot. So, hey, maybe that can work out. But, we'll see.
This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin.
Hi, Don. Welcome to the show. This is the drawing part. So, let's see here. What a strange girl. Burned through all that money that people sent her to watch her, prance around in her underwear. And probably more. Of course, she burned it all on a pretty expensive apartment, And then, yeah, you can leave the restaurant without paying. You know, you sneak out, but you can't be delinquent on your rent. I wonder, did you think like Elliot Spitzer would be, vulnerable to her charms, and she would just, think, look, I'm cute and stuff, and he would be like, you, and maybe so. I don't know. But no indication that they actually ever met. He just owns the building, but nevertheless, she didn't pay, so she's gonna go. And what becomes of the debt she owes to the eateries of New York? Well, I guess stay tuned. I don't know. It's all a misunderstanding. My date didn't pay. Maybe that, But it sounds like you're not paying your rent, you're not paying anything, and there's all these people sending you money to, again, watch you prance around in your underwear. So, and you're living in one of the most expensive cities in the world. So, even without buying all the pricey jewelry, handbags and crap like that, you were gonna burn through that OnlyFans money pretty quick. Or she didn't say OnlyFans. I don't know if she had an OnlyFans, but she was Instagram model, and these dudes send her money. And have her cosplay as video game girls, crap like that. I wonder if she played video games on Twitch like they used to, Probably. Oh yeah, she figures, hey, look, it's not that bad a living. I just don't know how to do math, really. But all I had to do was sit around in my underwear, maybe less, and I got money. I mean, how can you beat that, And, but you really need to know your math. And, well, I guess she didn't. Yeah. Oh, well, that's too bad. It's always something like that, anyway. Giggle tee hee. Giggle giggle. Tee hee. There we go. before someone starts saying, hey, it's that girl who steals from the restaurant, you know. I don't know how they didn't really pay attention how long she's been running the scam. And they finally, or it was like some of the guys at the restaurant said, she's good for it. Then she wasn't. But she talked to me. I thought she wouldn't do that to me. Could be something like that. Except, you know, eventually she hits on the gay guy and he's like, oh no, honey, you know, and that kind of thing. And then it was all over after that. Well, there you go. That's kind of how that works. And then Love Gov had no more love to give. You either pay that rent or you're out on your bony ass. Yeah, well. But considering how much of the theft will accumulate on charges, she'll have a place to stay. In the penitentiary. Because, you know, restaurants, it's their business to make a lot of food. They do it all the time. They'll sit there and cook all day, well into the night, all kinds of stuff like that. Thing is, though, they don't like it when you don't pay for it. Oh, no. They don't like that at all. And you can understand it. There's a lot of work they did, but also, well, it's a business. That's the whole point. They cook stuff, and then you pay to eat it. You know? They're not going to buy all that stuff and ingredients and put it together, cook it up, season it, whatever. Stand over that hot stove just for you to go, yeah, that's pretty good. Well, I'll see you next week. No, you got to pay for it. You can't just, hey, I thought we were friends here. Boy, I screwed this up. That arm that ain't right at all. Now I'm all pissed. Damn it. No. Alright. Oh, wait. I didn't really finish the phone here. Like my phone is my life. Yeah. I guess it is. Yes. wine and dash lady. Soon to be homeless, apparently. But again, like I said, she will have, state-funded accommodations at the penitentiary for theft, fraud, what have you, depending on the amount. Might just be, hey, you know what? All you got to do is pay it back. Well, I mean, I suppose she's just going to have to get an OnlyFans. I don't know. Don says, hi, Susan. Don says, faces are so hard to draw. Yep. You could draw Kiki's butthole. I could. Not gonna. Don Jr. says, sweet bangs. Yeah, I guess. She's got a little cuteness about her, I suppose. But Don, ladies, don't cut your bangs. Don, her boobs are lopsided. Oh, yeah, they are. Huh. She's, doesn't have much up there, but one is C, the other is an A. Yeah, well, let's see what the old Marks-a-Lot can do, Yeah. Yep. There. Ta-da! See? Everything's fine. Yeah. Start on one thing, end up doing this. In danger of messing up the whole damn thing. Oh dear God. What the hell am I doing? Anyway. It's gonna go into the hair so you really can't see. Anyway. That's gonna have to do it. Gee, I hope this dried up enough for me to... Oh yeah, it did. Oh, what do you know? Alright, get all this out of the way, all that. But, yeah, she'll have to do OnlyFans and do her happy fun time show. And there's bound to be somebody out there to throw her a few bucks. I don't know if it'll pay the debt she's gonna owe for the... Oh, that's ink ran through. I mean, I don't even remember. I'm sure the story indicated, the damages or whatnot. Like I said, hey, we didn't work on this just so you can take it. Oh, my bad. And just leave it at that. No, that doesn't fix it, She's used to guys kissing her ass and all that. And probably thought, hey, she's the hot girl. She can do what she wants and that kind of thing. But eventually, you must pay the piper. Giggle, tee-hee, giggle, giggle, tee-hee. Really didn't do a very good job on this one. Whoops. Went too far on that. Oh well. There she is. She needs a place to stay once she gets out of jail or whatever. She's currently not in jail, but she soon will be, And I don't know if you're in the New York area. Look her up, you know. It's going to cost you a fortune in food, but I don't know. Maybe she can make it worth your while. Yeah. There you are. You'd have, you know, an Instagram model girlfriend. Huh? Hey, not everybody can say that. Yeah. But then, you know, you'd be in the big leagues then, I guess. But anyway, that's it. That's an influencer that's probably going to be evicted. This next one, I'll play the news story, but I don't know.
This is a Nailsin News Bulletin.
A New Jersey Korean spa is forced now to allow transgender women in the nude section for women after being sued. A popular Korean spa in New Jersey where nudity is compulsory will now let transgender women use the female-only section, even if they have male genitals, after being slapped with a lawsuit. King Spa in Palisades Park recently changed its policies after it was sued by a trans woman for refusing to let her use the female facilities despite her still having male anatomy. Under the change, the spa's policy now clearly states that any guest may use the locker room that aligns with the gender identity displayed on their government or state-issued photo ID. That's all it takes to alter physical reality. If any spa goer is uncomfortable with sharing facilities with a trans person who may have different genitalia from them, the policy states the customer can either request a private spa or give up use of the communal facilities going forward. Yeah, you're a transphobe. Get the hell out of here. The wellness facility, which models itself after the traditional Korean spa known as Jim Jill Bang, Jim Jill Bang indeed, requires men and women to be segregated in certain areas where clothing in any form of covering is banned. So it's like a nudist colony or something. The changes were made after the customer Alexandra Gobert, or Gobert, I don't know, filed a suit in 2022 following an incident when she alleged she was booted from the facilities for complaining about having to use the male-only spa and sauna. Well, when Gobert arrived at the spa with a female companion, she alleged she was initially given a male wristband despite her Garden State ID identifying her as female. She was eventually given access to the women's locker room, but was quickly questioned by staff on whether she still had boy parts and had undergone surgery. Gobert was ordered to leave the female segregated section after conceding she still had male genitalia and was told to use the male facilities. Well, since nudity's compulsory, they were going to find out one way or another. Oh, dear Lord. After complaining that she would feel uncomfortable in the men's section because she's a trans woman, the spa offered to let her use the female facilities if she wore a bathing suit. But she declined. The spa reached a confidential settlement agreement with Gilbert in August. The policy change, as well as additional training for staff, were implemented as part of the settlement. All clients will be permitted to access and use the sex-segregated facilities. They're not sex-segregated anymore. It's a free-for-all for Jim Jill Bang. And areas that correspond to the client's gender identity, regardless of whether the client is transgender or not. Yeah, it's just, there's no segregation. And regardless of any physical or other traits the client has, which may or may not align with traits stereotypically associated with that gender, you mean the physical reality of whether one is male or female. This isn't hard. Clients who choose to access and use sex-segregated areas, they're not segregated anymore, where partial or full nudity is either required or permitted to do so, with the understanding that other clients using those areas may have bodies that do not appear to align with the stereotypical. It's not a stereotype. Stereotypical body parts associated with the gender designated for that area. Quit designating it. Just like, all right, it's a free-for-all, whatever. You know? Oh, jeez. No client may force another client to not to use the sex-segregated area. It's not. Just, there's no sections anymore. It's just wide open. Corresponding to the other client's own gender identity because of the requesting client's own personal discomfort, nor will the spa agree to any demand by any client to prohibit any other client from using any communal areas in any manner. Good Lord. Or with any conditions not equally required of all clients using such areas. It wasn't immediately clear when the new policy was enforced or if there had been any objections to it. There were. There's women who just aren't going to go anymore because there's some dude there with his dong hanging out. Now, this is one of those places. I don't know. Everybody agrees to be naked in it and all that. So, yes, it sounds a little odd to me to begin with, but they've had other spas and gyms and stuff like that where people bring their kids and their young daughters were exposed to this. So there was a man in the locker room with his dick hanging out, and there were like 10-year-old girls in there. And still, these women got yelled at for complaining, But I mean, so, well, you can go into the females. It's not a female section. It's just take down the walls or whatever where you separated the sections. And there you can all be naked together at the spa. The Jim Jill Bang Spa. Where Jim and Jill can be together all the time.
This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin.
Well, there you have it, huh? Pretty cool, huh? All kinds of fun things at the old spa. Yeah. But I guess that would be the solution. You just take down all the walls and everybody. I mean, it's a weird place to begin with. I mean, it's if you're going to come to our spa, you're going to do it nude. Yeah. Anyway, as far as the female buddy, was that really the buddy? See, it's like he wants to get into the women's locker room and, I mean, sure, most of that is confused homosexuals that want to be women. Then there's these guys, they'll date women even after they've, had the breast implants and they're wearing dresses and all that sort of stuff. Oh, well. Anyway, he got his way. Now he can wag his dong in front of whatever ladies are still left, because business is probably going to flatline at that point. But anyway, of course, it's hip New Jersey. Maybe they're like, hey, I don't want to be seen as non-progressive. So, okay. Don Jr. says, I'd do her. All right. Oh, hi, Werewolf of Sicily. Thanks for stopping by. Says, greetings to me and to you, the chat. That's right. That's right. Well, like I said, I don't care to draw the... I mean, how am I going to depict that? Draw him naked? Yeah, I ain't doing that. So, hey, I never promised I'd draw everything. I probably did. Yeah. But anyway, that's the trans spa story. Well, in political news, we've got a candidate who, despite being batshit crazy, you really got to respect her honesty on what she's really all about. I think that's something to take notice of. And I did in this story.
This is a Nailsin News Bulletin.
Tennessee Democratic candidate Afton Ben says she doesn't want children. She wants power. Yes, Afton Ben, the Democratic congressional candidate for Tennessee's 7th District, once had recurring dreams in which she screamed, I don't want children, I want power. In an audio clip posted online, Ben can be heard speaking about her sessions with her therapist and dreams she has had. She connects the dreams back to advice her mother gave her to forego children in order to focus on a career. It was not immediately clear when the audio clip was recorded. Well, right off the bat, boy, Mom really conditioned her daughter well, huh? Yeah, don't have kids like I did. So it's like, oh, Mom, you're really sorry I exist, huh? My therapist always asks me to transcribe my dreams when they happen. And the recurring dream I've had is standing up in a cafeteria full of women. I don't know why I was there or whatever. And saying, I don't want children, I want power. And just screaming it at the top of my lungs. Ben can be heard saying, for someone who grew up with my mother telling me never have kids because you will, you'll have to give up a lot. You'll have to sacrifice professionally, she continued. Ben said that the political field has not met the challenge of working moms, and added that those women who do choose marriage and a family are in deeply patriarchal structures. I think in the South, here we go, it's incredibly difficult to shake those patriarchal structures, especially if you've grown up here and all you've been told is the definition of success. The metrics of success is how many kids you have, the bigger the square footage of your house, and where your kids go to school, Ben said. Look at that. Look at that face. That's so, jeez. Angry, vicious, villainous woman.
My therapist always asks me to transcribe my dreams when they happen. And the recurring dream I've had is standing up in a cafeteria full of women. I don't know why I was there or whatever. And saying, I don't want children, I want power. And just screaming it at the top of my lungs. And for someone who grew up with my mother telling you never have kids because you will you know, you'll have to give up a lot. You'll have to sacrifice professionally, which is what she was saying. And where I am now with seeing the consequences and the ramifications of women having kids and being in the political field and what they're able to achieve, because we don't offer, you know, it's like the political field hasn't met the challenge of working moms. They really haven't. But also the deeply patriarchal structures that these women are involved with because they've chosen marriage and they've chosen to raise children. And I think in the South it's incredibly difficult to shake those, especially if you've grown up here and that's all you've been told is the definition of success. The metric of success is how many kids you have, the bigger the square footage of your house,
Yeah.
and where your kids go to school.
Man, that face. That tells you everything you need to know, really. Ben, currently serving as a state representative in Tennessee, has a history of controversial comments that have undermined her campaign to represent Tennessee's 7th District in the U.S. Congress. In another clip discovered and posted last week, the Democratic candidate said she hated the city she is running to represent. I have no doubt. Look, they all do. Come on. I hate the city. I hate the bachelorettes. I hate the pedal taverns. I hate country music. I hate all the things that make Nashville apparently an it city to the rest of the country. But I hate it. And most of all, she hates herself. Because that's what mommy taught her to do, you know. She later said that she was only venting frustrations about the tourism that comes to Nashville. Yeah. Ben is running against Republican Matt Van Epps in a special election to replace former Representative Mark Green. The election is scheduled to be held early next week. Well, good luck, Nashville or Tennessee, what have you. Good luck, because she looks a little cheery here, but right there, that face, right there. Yeah. Oh, does she hate you? Oh, is she so mad at the world? Yeah. But that's how mommy taught her. And she's, I guess, I don't know if her mother's still alive or not, but would she be proud of this? I mean, she told her don't have kids. And in the long run, considering her attitude now, yeah, don't. But then again, she shouldn't get the power either. Imagine what she'll do with it. She can then act out her hatreds on the peasants she can't stand. Yeah. I guess that's why they want that power. Because, I mean, look, there's a void in her life, so what else is there? She's just got to chase power until she drops, you know? That's pretty much it. It's like Gollum in Lord of the Rings. You made fishies. That's what it is. Same thing. Power. Yeah.
This has been a Nailsin News Bulletin. This
Gotta turn the sound on. Yep. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. All right, so now we're gonna draw poor Afton, you know. Nobody understands. Well, make them understand. He's going to get all that power. But again, like I said earlier, you know, I appreciate the honesty. You know, it's not like, oh, I want to do good by my fellow citizens. I want to serve the community. I've seen problems that I think I have some ideas about how to deal with that. And, oh boy, did I get frustrated with town hall and that sort of thing. And no, I just want power. I just want to be able to make people do what they don't want to. That's the main thing, because I mean, if you're just gonna be ordering people to do what they wanted to do anyway, what's the point of having the power? You know? Now that's what power is. The ability to make people do what they don't want to. Yes, yes. And will that finally make little Afton happy? You know? Will that finally calm the boiling rage? No, of course not. Then the anger will double down. You peasants. You know? Yep. And then she'll be wondering, why is there such an emptiness? Why? How can it be this way? You know? Could mommy have been wrong? The mommy who obviously was flat out telling you she regrets your very existence? Yeah. But, sure, put her in charge. She'll have everyone's best interest at heart. Surely Tennessee can't be that stupid. Oh well. Get this in there. Idea that one photograph could speak volumes of a person. That one shot of her sitting there with her arms folded. There's probably a shot of her as a child at a birthday party or something, you know. And she probably didn't get those because, again, mommy was too busy pouring all her hatred and derision into her daughter. It was constantly a symbol of her enslavement, you know. So of course she hated her little girl, yeah. And of course, you know, says, "No, honey, I don't really hate you. I hate the patriarchy that made me have you." You know? Oh, so it's the patriarchy's fault that mommy didn't really love you all that much, you know. Yeah. And again, you know, it's like with the attitude she has, oh, for God's sakes, don't have the kids. You'll just make another one like her. But that's the part she didn't really catch on to. Oh. There's really no one who's, you know, going to follow me afterwards who, that I could influence. And that's why these weirdos are always fascinated with everyone else's kids, ultimately. All the while. Boy, are you stupid. You had kids. Well. Some people just can't leave their adolescence, you know. It's hard. It's traumatic even, you know, for some. But if she doesn't win, then I don't even know. Was the election today? I wasn't really paying attention. Hell, maybe she won, you know. But she'll be around. It doesn't matter if she loses. That's proof she was right all along about the cruel world it is. If she wins, it proves she was right about her genius and that the rest of the world has finally gotten off their fucking lazy asses and appreciated the goddess she is. Stuff like that, you know. Either way. So it's not like, says, oh, well, maybe I was wrong about all this. Maybe I should seek something else out of life. No. There you go. There's the woman who should hold a position of authority, because she can really relate to people who are concerned about the well-being of their, you know, families, you know, their children. Yeah, she can really relate to that. She has nothing but the utmost respect for the value of family, one's legacies, and so on and so forth, you know. Truly the meaning of life. Now, a lot of people fail at it. You know, like me. Failed miserably. But Afton here, she failed because she went out of her way to pursue that failure. Because she was too goddamn selfish and self-absorbed, which is the nature of it anyway. And of course, yes, the explanation, we can trace it back to her crazy mommy. But you're supposed to figure that out too. But who knows? Maybe mom said, yeah, it's tough, you know. Yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing and raising kids and all that sort of thing. And then she took it to mean something else. And it's really her. You know, my mother was like, no, you know, I mean, in the end, I'm glad I had kids, you know, I love my kids. Something like that, you know. But that's not what Afton wanted to hear. I'm challenging the patriarchy. And a lot of that could be, there's no mention of the father or anything, so maybe he wasn't in the picture, or she's just mad at daddy. Oh, I mean, there's some mad at daddy here. No doubt about that. So there's that. Then it's like, well, what went on with the boyfriends? Is there a husband? Did she have one? You know. And for some reason, he decided he didn't really want to be with you anymore, or something like that. Found somebody else. God damn it. Something. And how could this happen to someone as sweet and wonderful as me? And that's why I want power. God damn it, I'm gonna get it. Maybe. I don't know. Werewolf says, hi, Susan. Susan says, just wait till she's in her 60s and has a house full of cats. Yeah. And then even the cats are like, as soon as she opens the door, I'm bailing. No, come on, Fifi, don't. Nah, I can't take the crap anymore. I just can't. Can I go with you? Yeah, all right. And there you go. So it'll be like, instead of 30 cats, she'll only have 28. Anyway, yeah, that's probably the positive outcome for Afton. God, she's probably telling the truth about what her mother said. She named her Afton. Huh. Anyway, she ought to move either to California or New York. She'd fit right in. Yeah, but see, she wants to change the red states, you know? You know, that's why all the more reason she wants the power. She wants to make people she absolutely despises do what they do not want to do. You know, she's going to smash those round pegs into that square hole, no matter what it takes. Hey, Nodak shows up to remind you to hit the button. Yeah, hit the like button. I'm probably dying as I sit here, in more ways than one. All right, final story. Again, these aren't gruesome murders and stuff, you know. You know, I mean, this woman's a scary woman, no doubt about it. But as far as I know, she hadn't killed anybody yet. But mostly just did her story for laughs, you know. It's pretty funny. And that's got to be one of the best photographs of anyone of that mindset I've ever seen. That's great. It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, back to restaurants and the abuse thereof. This story here involves a couple, you know, and, well, they had a plan, and then something got in the way. Yeah, it sure did.
This is a Nailsin News Bulletin.
An amorous couple was caught having sex in an Arizona eatery before they robbed it. Yes, a lusty couple caught on security camera having sex inside an Arizona restaurant before allegedly robbing it was arrested and thrown behind bars for the steamy late-night ice. Carissa Suckanek, with just one letter, it'd be perfect, you know. 30, and Brian Morrow, 39, were hit with third-degree burglary charges after breaking into Mon Chéri restaurant in Old Town Scottsdale around 3:50 a.m. on October 25th and making off with $450 in cash and an iPhone 5 and a bottle of Bacardi rum. Well, it's... Ooh. Ooh. The frisky duo also trashed the rose-themed eatery, but not before a surveillance camera caught them getting it on among the floral decorations near the outdoor patio. Oh, the flowers must have really put them in the mood, I guess. Is that like flowers all over, hang in the ceiling? Is that just a painting, or is they actual? I don't know. I don't know. That looks kind of creepy, like it's some kind of diseased flesh or something. I don't know. Anyway, they were then seen forcing their way inside, the Popular Bistro. They got caught in the moment. There's roses everywhere. Yeah, okay. Maybe it was kind of romantic, but modern-day Bonnie and Clyde owner Lexi Caliscan told the outlet last month following the bizarre break-in. Yeah, sneaking around like ghost hunters. The eatery posted surveillance video of the wild caper on social media, enlisting followers to help ID the brazen couple. With tips from the community, officials cuffed Suckanek on November 3rd and busted Morrow at a Phoenix hotel the next day. The pair were also charged with possession of burglary tools. she's just not that much of a looker. Anyway, Scottsdale police said the couple won't face charges for their steamy romp before the alleged robbery. Okay, well, I guess technically it wasn't in public because there was, other than the camera, there was no witness to it. Anyway, neither suspect was booked for, nor are they currently facing any charges for the amorous activities caught on surveillance video, as it does not meet the criteria for criminal charges, authorities said. So they were booked in the Maricopa County Jail. Well, they had a little adventure. It's just unfortunate for the theft and damage they did to the property and all that. And I guess in the dark with all the roses, it made it more exciting because otherwise... Ooh. So anyway, there you go, huh? They got something to talk about for years. Not everybody can say they, did it on the floor covered with roses at a place called Montcherie. But they can. All right, there you go. You're all caught up on Nailsin News. Yeah, I'm not going to draw them. What am I going to do? Draw them rolling around on the floor in the roses? Terms of service and all that, I guess. Whatevs. So there we go. We end with the final drawing of Afton. Isn't that sweet? Yeah. Yeah, poor Afton, huh? Yeah. I guess so. Well, that's it for her and for Nailsin News. And I guess I'll be taking off soon. Good Lord, this is bright. Let me turn the light down. Oh, jeez. There. That's better. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. So, Susan says she already hit the like button, no deck. So thanks, Susan. Werewolf of Sicily says, sex! Werewolf of Sicily says, I technically broke into my old job and had sex there. But we didn't steal anything, and I just got fired, no charges. Yeah. That's usually how that goes. Hey, you're not going to tell anybody you did that, huh? Yes! So then people go to work and, hey, remember Werewolf of Sicily? Yeah. He had sex on your desk. Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much what they have to deal with. They'd rather not, but what are they gonna do? They're just like, all right, get out of here, you crazy werewolf. And that's how that went. So, and granted, you didn't steal anything. But I mean, come on, be honest. You probably stole some of the stationery, the pens, maybe even the toilet paper, stuff like that. But as far as anything of real serious worth, Werewolf of Sicily says, we were polite. It was in the back on top of boxes. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Who has to deal with those boxes? Yeah. That's right. It's like, oh, man. Is this where Werewolf of Sicily's butt was? Come on, man. I got to do the inventory. It was a liquor store. I drank all the time for free. So the boxes of booze.
it's like, I gotta touch the bags. Yeah, well, these things happen, you know. Then again, it's like, I guess if you just done it on the floor, they're like, oh man, you know, we gotta walk on that. But then, you know, you can mop it all up and everything. And then that's on the janitor. Of course, a liquor store, that kind of stuff happens anyway. You know? Certainly in the parking lot. Good Lord. The things that go on in the parking lots. You have no idea. Or maybe you do. Anyway, there you go. Nailsin News. All that good stuff. What will I do next? Well, it's supposed to be on the pop culture breakdown, but feeling the way I am right now, it's a long time from now, so maybe I'll feel all right. I don't know. The movie this week I've never seen, so I probably won't. Maybe I can do like an hour or two and then say, okay, I'm gonna go take a rest. So since I would have no commentary for it, so maybe that's how that'll work out. After that, maybe might be do a Nailsin Ratings Live, because you know, there's little tidbits here and there to talk about, and I could just do it like that, all in one little stream, you know. And then well, that'll be great. And then after that, yeah, I don't know, maybe another drawing thing or something, maybe. But it's wrong to promise something you're not sure you can keep that promise. Because even though it might come to the time to deliver upon the promise and you're just unable to, you still kind of lied. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let that be a lesson for all of us, huh? And we've learned things, right? You know, don't break into your workplace to have sex. Don't do that. Don't eat the food at the restaurant and then just leave. I don't care how cute you are. And don't think you can just not pay rent for months just because the landlord got caught with a prostitute once. Yeah, that's not going to work out. Don't go around, well, you know the deal. Oh, and if you're a school teacher, don't have sex with the students. But that's kind of a lesson you have. Some people never learn that lesson. Ironically enough, teachers, learn your lesson. I guess they got to learn it the hard way. Yeah. Susan says, see you tomorrow, Douglas, and everybody else at Pop Culture Breakdown. Yep, that's the show. Pop Culture Breakdown, Doomcock's show over at Overlord DVD channel. I'm not sure what we'll talk about. There's not a lot going on, really. I mean, the usual stuff. What's going to happen with Warner Brothers? Who will buy it in the end? Well, we'll find out sooner or later. Boy, there really isn't. There's, yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll think of something and then talk about that. Yeah. That's usually how it goes. So anyway, tune in to that and, you know, have fun and all that good stuff. And then we'll get together again later while I talk about stuff and maybe draw something. Yeah, I think that's the whole deal. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks for watching the show. Let me check. Yeah, no super tips. I actually made it onto the super tip leaderboard over the weekend. One of those rare moments. That won't be happening this week, I'm afraid. So, what are you going to do? But anyway, have a good rest of your night, morning, what have you. And we'll meet again soon.
Read all about it. Crazy bitch news. Crazy bitch news. Crazy bitch news. Bitches that cray cray. and that's pretty crazy. Extra, extra, read all about it. Crazy bitch news, crazy bitch news, crazy bitch news. Bitches be cray cray, she crayed and she would, and that's pretty cray. Extra, extra, read all about it. Crazy bitch news, crazy bitch